Hello everyone, how are we all doing? Come on in, sit on down, it's time for a live Q&A. It's Wednesday evening. These weeks do fly by, don't they? Episode 92 of the live Q&A series. I've started numbering them on YouTube, but I have been numbering them since the beginning on the Spotify platform when it's just podcast only. And I thought I'd better start numbering them on YouTube as well to give a bit of a differentiation for the viewers of just what episode they're actually watching. Because I know sometimes it can all just seem like a bit of a blur. But yes, we're almost at 100 episodes of the live Q&As now. That came creeping up. That came fast. I wasn't expecting that so soon, to be honest. But yeah, there we go. It's just 8 more weeks or something like this, and we'll be there. Another celebration, something else to feel good about and to have a sense of achievement about, I suppose. But what we are now, like 120 something of the therapy sessions as well. So yeah, it's basically telling me I've been doing this for too long, isn't it? Something like that. But how are we doing, everyone? How's everyone doing? Just waiting for people to come in while I yammer on for a little bit. I'll just check the live control panel, get it all set up. I've got people rolling in, as I can see. That's fantastic. And yeah, I'm going to have a relatively short show today, maybe an hour and a half, hour 15 or something like that. I do have 2 people lined up, back-to-back 1-hour phone calls after this, starting from 10 p.m, with people who have taken up the offer to have one-to-one private conversations to help support me and obviously to help them get whatever it is they need to get off their mind or peck my brain for ideas and so forth. So that's a service I am offering, and a couple of people have taken up on it, and that's fantastic. And obviously that helps support me and they get something out of it too. And if you're interested and you want to maybe fill a slot next Wednesday evening, just email me at understandingconspiracy@gmail.com. But that is why I'm going to have to not do a 2-hour show today. And also, I'm still feeling a little bit under the weather, to be honest. It's rough. The Stobbs household is falling apart with sinus infections for some reason. And my wife, God bless her, she's been strong all week. And just tonight, she's finally spiked a little bit of a fever and just given up and collapsing onto bed. So it's finally caught up with her. My last week has been that, and I think I'm coming out the back end of it now, to be honest. But I do still feel a bit stuffy behind all this section here. Something to do with the changing of the seasons and spring, I assume. I don't know what it is, but we're all feeling it. My son's got a bit of a cough going on as well. My baby and my baby son, my youngest, have just started for some reason waking up screaming. Just randomly every 3 hours, inconsolably. But I think he's all right. I think he's just getting that, what's it called, that attachment anxiety, you know, where we're just not in the room with them anymore. Oh, the joys, the memories, the things you think you've got past, and then you have another kid and you have to go through it all again. But it's worth it. And like I said, I'm feeling a bit rough, so please bear with me. Please bear with me. I'm doing the best I can. Let me know if the volume's all right, guys. I think I've turned it up again this time. some people complain that the last one was just a bit too quiet. I've turned the dial up. Tell me if it's loud and clear, or if maybe when the music starts it's too loud compared to my voice is too loud compared to the music, things like that. I rely on you in the chat to tell me when things like that are going wrong. Otherwise, the whole show is just going to be what it's going to be. So please inform me in the chat if that's the case. But it's been an interesting week. It's been a good week. Again, my loving wife has given me all week to basically just disappear for 6 hours a day and write. Because normally I have this schedule, you see, where I've got to only write maybe on Tuesday mornings and Friday mornings. Maybe I get 5 hours on a Tuesday, 5 hours on a Friday, while my son's away and we only have the baby to deal with. We just have the schedule going where that's my time. That's when I get to do that kind of stuff, you know. But then balancing that with also having to make content videos for this as well, and podcast interviews and preparations. It's been slower than I would have liked on the second book front. So I was showing my wife where I'm up to and what I've done and how many words I've written. And to be fair, it's a decent wedge. I've got like 80 pages down, which when that translates to this, it's something like maybe 150 pages or something, and this is 300 and something. So I'm halfway there in that respect. And the next book I think might be a little bit shorter than the first, not by much, because since the start of this week I've managed to smash out like another 7 to 10 pages, and I've just been going as fast as I can, well, no, with as much detail as I can with the time I've been given, just through each continent, kind of laying out all the cultures around the earth that basically venerate Nephilim without realizing it, and how they all have clown-like features within their costumes and artworks. And I've done North America, I've done South America, I've just gone through Europe, and that was a wedge, like a serious wedge. And now I've just got on to the African continent, and I've just been dealing with North Africa, the Arabian regions, the desert regions, and I've just managed to box that off on Monday and Tuesday. And Tuesday evening, I started into West Africa. And today I've just been swimming in African ancestor spirit worship research. And like I said, at the start of the week, I was swimming in the Djinn and all sorts of things, and the Amazigh people and Baal. And it's just been weird. It's just been weird seeing it all in perspective, going from one region to the other and just seeing how they all kind of affect one another. And how the demon worship runs amok everywhere, and every culture has their own like way of viewing it. You know what I mean? And they have their own stories to tell about why they do what they do and what they believe they're actually communicating with. I think they're all wrong. Fundamentally, I think they're all just myopically seeing it from their own cultural perspective rather than a bigger picture, out of the culture perspective. And a lot of them, really, you ask them why they do these things. Why do you have these rituals? Why do you do these traditional things? Where's it come from? Or like, what's the purpose behind it? And a lot of them really do just say, oh, it's just tradition. They don't even know. Like, it's like, and even in Africa, I was researching this earlier, and they've got a huge like ancestor spirit worship thing going on over there. It's kind of animism, shamanism, ancestor spirit worship, pantheon, god worship, spirit worship, and this type of thing. And a lot of the rituals revolve around dressing like spirits to communicate with them, to venerate them, to honor them, giving things to them, and even sacrifice, animal sacrifice in many ways, giving the blood to them because the spirits enjoy feeding on it. And it's kind of to pay respects to them, but also to get knowledge and information from them as well, things like that. But then when you actually look into it, you realize, well, most of like Africa, especially in the northern regions, has been absolutely dominated by Christianity and Islam. And there's just diaspora, like pockets of Islam and Christianity bordering each other in each nation, as you go through them. And then you realize even in West Africa alone, I think it's only between 10 and 20% of them that actually still follow this old religion, this old ancestor spirit worship culture, And even when you look into them, they've blended it and syncretized it with Catholicism or Christianity or Islam. So it's kind of like a weird Islamic or Christian blend of animism. And it's not quite what it used to be anymore. And the ones that still stick to the original way it was done before any of that got involved, you find they only really do it for tourism attractions, and it's like what would you call it? A commodified version of the original sacred act. It's kind of really sad, to be honest, in many ways, and maybe a good thing in many other ways when you really get down to the truth of the matter. But what I'm doing is I'm kind of combing through each section of Africa. I'll show you here on the screen, kind of like this map I've got up, which is quite useful. It's a very useful map because it basically tells you all the tribes that are in Africa. Let me just quickly share the screen here. There I am. So you got this map here, and if you look closely enough at it, it names each tribe or like group of peoples, and these group of peoples can cross borders quite easily. It's not as clear cut as what country you're going to. And I've done this dark purple bit here on the western part of Africa, just below the Arab nations. Below that big chunk of yellow is where I've kind of been settling right now. I've just done all the yellow area and that kind of all those regions and what they believe. It's mainly Islamic, to be honest, with a lot of other pagan, Egyptian influenced, Nubian influenced, and Nubia is the little blue bit there on the far left. You've got Libyan, you got Phoenician, Roman, Greek influence, kind of all melded together in this one melting pot of pantheistic, pagan god and goddess worship stuff. But then when you get past that yellow line, you're getting into the heart of Africa here, away from the deserts and more into the jungles, into the grasslands. You start finding more of this animistic, ancient Vodun or Yoruba religion, especially in the West. And that's what I've been writing about for the past day or two. And I'm going to show you some pictures, just some things I've kind of uncovered along the way. Just a bit of an update for the kind of stuff that's coming in the second book, And if you've been watching my channel for well over 10 years now, you'll know since 2016 I've been churning out an episode every now and then, kind of showcasing countries that have these rituals. And right now, like I said, we're focused on West Africa for the book, and then we're going to move into the Central Africa, East Africa, and then South Africa as well, as we kind of work our way through these tribes and the big names. And while I was doing it, I kind of uncovered quite a lot of interesting parallels to European wild men traditions, which again have no business being the same as each other, but seem to be the same as each other for some reason. And I think it's because they are having a shared experience with a particular type of entity, and they know what it looks like, so they dress like it. And that ends up obviously showing that these spirits are cross-continental in a sense. They and people who have never met each other are dressing the same way because they've had an interaction with these spirits, because they know that's what this particular spirit looks like. And if you've looked into the series again, this is what I do. But the book really is a more of a fleshed out, in detail, with back history and context version of what you see in those videos. So yeah, I mean, first of all, if I just bring up here, let me just get these tabs. You got the Agungun of the Yoruba Masquerades. So this is all in that region I showed you earlier, that dark purple region. And you find you have the Yoruba religion kind of right next to the Vodun religion. So you have Nigeria, which has the Yoruba main religion there, which is more focused on the gods. And then just next to the Yoruba in Nigeria, you've got Benin, which is primarily Vodun, which focuses on the spirits rather than the gods. It's more of that's the main distinction, but they kind of share rituals quite a lot, and this Agungun's one of them. And they are dressing like the dead in society, as it says right here. And they tend to dress in these multicolored rags and cloths and so forth. And we're getting into clown costume territory, but when you look into it, each patchwork represents a part of their family lineage as well, and they do have these stories behind it. But rest assured, they're dressing like spirits is what they'll tell you when they do this. There's no other reason for it. It's to venerate, channel, and celebrate the spirits. And then you have in the Vodun, you have this Zangbito, which is a really popular thing. And in the Zangbito festival, you get this thing kind of whirling around like this, and there's nobody in it. And they often do just take them apart, and the shows is completely empty. And you also often see randomly put like a wooden figurine underneath it. then it starts to rise up and spin once they include the figurine, and the figurine just vanishes. It's very odd, very mysterious. People claim to have exposed it for what it truly is and stuff like this, but when you actually watch these videos and these people doing these things, it's a wonder. Are they making this up? Look at these people going into a frenzy as the spirits come and reveal themselves to them. And there's certainly no Jesus Christ here, let's put it that way, to rebuke any of these spirits. So I think the spirits feel pretty confident in doing these things. But the Zangbito is considered like a guardian of the night. It's the guardian of these peoples. It protects them from evil spirits and bad people as well. So they kind of have a veneration for it in that respect. But this is like a Vodan thing, particularly. Then in the neighbouring regions, you get the Ayo festival as well, which again I think is a part of southern Nigeria. And then they have these spirit-like entities with odd-looking shamanistic feathered hats on stilts. And again, if they're channeling the spirit of a Nephilim, it would make sense that they would every now and then some of them would look like giants, right? But yeah, this Orisha festival, this Adamu Orisha play, or the Ayo festival as we call it, is basically a celebration of the dead specifically, and they primarily dress like this. Again, with this Hatman-like hats and this stereotypical ghost shawl, like a bed sheet with eye holes type thing. And they have these pom-pom laden sticks as well, and staffs. And it's a very old classic display, but they represent the spirits. And I think this hat is quite telling, because obviously if you've read my book or any of my research, I discussed the Hatman, its origins, its ties to Freemasonry and shamanism specifically. And it seems like a hat like this is extremely common when it comes to channeling spirits. It always seems to be this shape for some odd reason. I mean, even if we just go to let me quickly think here, I'm blanking, South Korean Modang shamanism. This is the shaman of South Korea, and she also basically wears the exact same hat if you look at it closely here. It's the same thing, and also dresses the same when you really get down to it. Multicolored, patterned, sheet-like flowing patchwork clothing. This is what the shamans of South Korea do, and is it really any different to what we just witnessed there of the Ayo? I don't think so. I think it's pretty much just the same thing. It's just another flavor, another way of doing it, and the shaman of Korea is looking to be possessed by the spirits of the dead. That's why they dress that way. And so are these guys. It's the same thing, but on completely separate continents, thousands of miles away from each other, culturally worlds apart as well, doing the exact same practices for the exact same purposes. So these practices give us hints at what the spirits they're trying to contact probably look like. But these processions they do, or dressed like this, dressed like the spirits, again, is very, very similar to, let's say, the Bulgaria cookery, and they walk in these big long processions dressed in their frilly clothing with their crazy masks. Bear in mind the images I'm about to show you here, because this is about to get weirder, much, much, much weirder. But is this that much different from a Zangbito we just saw earlier? A conical shaped, hairy, tasseled, flowing sound suit of sorts, or this long procession of masked, psychedelic coloured with white thing? Is that much different than this procession we're seeing here of in Africa, in the heart of Africa itself? And this is in Europe. And again, they are apotropaically trying to ward away evil spirits when they dress like this in Europe. In somewhere like this, they're venerating them, they're celebrating them. They all have their own reasons for doing it. But I don't really see that much of a difference, especially when you start looking at these type of costumes. Now, if I bring this up here and we go back over to look at, let's say, this Guli Wankulu festival about African heritage, all of them turn up from like Africa to come and show you these things, like these costumes that they wear in their own localized tribes. And if you look at this one, the costumes they're wearing here, is that really much different than what we're seeing in Bulgaria? I don't think it is. I think they're practically the exact same costumes, to be honest, because they all encountered the same thing. They all had to deal with something psychedelically colourful with grinning, weird-looking mouths and funny, irreverent-looking masks, like what look like masks, large heads, you know. This one even has red hair on this one, with these multicoloured fractal patterned bodies of sorts in spirit form, waving themselves around and making, looking ethereal and odd in nature. And then in Bulgaria, they equally go as psychedelic and colourful in some regions, as what you just saw from the African ritual. Let me just quickly check here. You're all with me. You've all checked in. You haven't all checked out yet. You're still listening. So I'll go back to the screen so I can see you're all with me. Maybe we can find some really colourful examples. I mean, look at this one. This again, Bulgaria. These really colourful costumes that they wear. We do find a lot of this in Africa. Very similar, with tassels as well, like this one. This could be pulled straight from the cookery of Bulgaria. It could be. It's this. You wouldn't be able to tell if I hadn't have told you the context. You probably wouldn't have seen the difference. Here's again Bulgaria, Europe, heart of Eastern Europe, and then back to Africa. You would struggle. You would struggle unless I told you. Unless we weren't doing this presentation where I contextualized it. You'd think you were just dealing with the same thing. Realistically, because they are the same thing, because they're all channeling or warding away or venerating in some way the spirits. I mean, there's one particular one I found which was really fascinating. I wonder if I can just quickly find where this is. If I just type in ancestor spirit Africa ritual. That was terrible spelling. And I tell you what, I'll get the book up, because I do have footnotes. So here's the book, guys. Here it is. If I scroll down all these many subheadings past the European influence, where I discuss a lot of the things I'm showing you here already, Eastern Europe all the way across to Portugal, you have here in West African and Vodan Spirit Masquerades. This is what I was writing today. I've got a lot of links to interesting things, and I think it's this one here from Alamy. Let me just get this one up. If I quickly show you this picture. Okay, again, this is in Africa. Same festival, the Black Heritage Festival in Lagos, which I think, again, is the capital of Nigeria. You've got this dude. Now, look at this costume. Now, let's look at the Caretos of Portugal. Let's look at these guys. That's not right. That's Caretos. What have I done wrong? Caretos. It'll come up. Give me a minute. Caretos. Caretos. Depodence. Yeah, there we go. So you got these dudes, noisy, colourful figures that dance all over the village to celebrate the end of winter, fertility, and spring. They tell you when you look into it, they embody the demonic force, and they go and pester young women and shake their rattles at them, then burn this giant effigy at the end of it of some kind of man. I don't know, but look at the costume that they're wearing here. It's the exact same colour scheme as what I just showed you them doing here in Africa. It's the same coloured set of patterns. And again, this is Portugal, completely separate. This is a African ancestor spirit ritual. This is a ancient Celtic ritual that's settled in the northern areas, the Provence regions of Portugal, just bordering Spain as well. Now, you also, if you didn't think these were the masks of devils, just the village just over from these guys is the what are they called? It begins with L. Lorent. What are they called now? I'm blanking. Portuguese. Masked tradition. It'll come up. I'll find it. It's this one here. Yeah, this is the one. This is one just across the way. They dress like this instead. Okay. It's their version of the same Kratos. They don't hide that they're dressing like devils just in the village over. It's we're dressing like the devil. That's what we're doing. But in Provence, they like to keep it all mystical and trippy and weird, so they do it this way instead. But literally, the village just next to them, they're always in competition with who has the trippiest version of this. I mean, this can get pretty weird when you get into it. But yeah, they tend to dress a bit more devilish. They do lean into the devil aspect of it all, because that's what they know. They know that's what they're doing. They know that's what they're doing. And again, so do the Africans. It's not any different. Look at this mask, this horned beast. This one's wielding a machete around. So these similarities are what I'm pointing out in the book. And we can take these features, these aesthetics, and realize that every culture kind of is doing the same thing. If you don't believe me, you can look at these tasseled things I just showed you from Europe to Africa. Then if we can go to the Fighter Con Ghost Festival here in Thailand, and they too are dressing the exact same way, just like something you would think this was Africa once more, right? It's not really. Would you know? Just from this picture alone, whether you were in Thailand and or Africa, based on this festival that's happening here, where they dress like demons with big wide grins and Joker-like smiles and long crooked noses, and put on these colourful tasseled costumes straight out of ancestor spirit worship styles of Africa. I don't think you would. I really don't think you would, unless you didn't realise I was pointing it out to you right now. This could be Africa for all you know. Okay, if I could just pull one of these random ancestor spirit worship African ancestor spirits. That is, I don't know what that is. My spelling is atrocious, clearly. Yeah, let's just get some of these. Let's go to the When Ancestors Dance website again. And you got this dude here, and his tassels and his clothing again, multiple ragwork patches. We got the Zangbito spinning there. More examples of tassels and colours, and more animistic there. Okay, well that wasn't very good, was it? Let's see, what else have we got? We've got to get better than this. I know I've got a huge backlog of images. I had loads of images earlier. I don't know where they've all suddenly gone. Let's see if this leads us anywhere. Let's see if we just followed some links and trails from this around Africa. Some prohibited. Let's go back here. Does it show me any similar festivals at the bottom? Anything else? No. Festivals in Nigeria. There's a lot. There's a lot, as you can see. Yeah, there's a lot of these, but I think it's this one in particular that I did write about. So if I just quickly Google this one. This one is specifically for the spirits. So if I just type in that, and here we go, we get a good display of what they're dressing like in Africa for this one. Look at these demonic guys right now. Again, that much different from what you see here, the Kratos or the Fighter Con. Is that much different than what these dudes are doing here with these big masks, or the cookery of Bulgaria again? The masks that they're wearing in this one in particular look just like some of the ones you see in Bulgaria. Like, look at this dude with his wild horns, big clown-like lip mouth, irreverence, and then we go back to this African one. We'll get to that in a second. Again, giant horns, wooden mask with big teeth. Another one here. Same beast creature of a sorts. I can't seem to control my screen. I'm inept with technology, if you couldn't tell. Yeah, you get the gist. You get what I'm talking about, and you get the kind of things I've been looking into. It's getting weird. It always is weird when I get into this, and more connections just keep rolling in. This is one of these constantly affirming situations, and there's always somebody out there who wants to tell me I'm misinterpreting what I'm looking at, and I'm really not. I'm doing my thorough research here. This guy's got his horned wild beast mask covered in tassels that he would wear for the festival. No different than this Bulgarian dude here doing the exact same thing in a very similar fashion and style. Here's another one. They like to wear the bells in this one. Here's a Krampus tradition deeper into Europe. Very similar. We got the Busaharos as well. They all kind of coalesce into one spot every year for this festival in Europe, in Bulgaria specifically. But again, these traditions are all over the country, all over the nation, all over the continent, and it's the same practice everywhere. It's uncanny. Look at this dude on stilts in Africa with his tassels doing his dance. It gets trippy and weird, and these are supposed to represent the spirits. From a strictly biblical perspective, the only thing on the other side of the veil on Earth, the only spirits you can communicate with are the unclean spirits of the disembodied ones of the Nephilim. So we can only make that assumption from a strictly biblical perspective that this is what the Nephilim look like, maybe at least in their ethereal psychedelic forms now, but perhaps physically they had some kind of trait like this in some way. So yeah, there's an update on where we are with the book. That's the kind of things I've been looking into. Again, a lot of references, a lot of things. If you do get the book, you can go and follow here to see all the images to back up everything I've been talking about. But there is this one I just started looking into, which is on the main thumbnail, called the Kankurang. And this one's really interesting. So let me just get some images up here. And here's the article about it. Look at this menacing thing just waltzing into the village with a machete in his hand, if you hadn't noticed. And all the villagers just looking and turning their eyes at this character. And he waltzes in with this machete. He's got a pal with him as well, who looks like this, absolutely crazy bright red. Like a lot like clown hair, you could say, But I think this represents a lot more of their ethereal nature now. These are what are known as sound suits. And they wave them and waft them around because it makes them look like they're not really there, like they're like a spirit form. They're just a blur because they are the spirits. They represent the spirits. But in this particular version, and if you want to look at the map I showed you earlier, do I still have the map here? This represents the Mandinka region, which is just very far left of the map, just below that yellow line, the Arab line. Just below that Arab line, you find just below Fula, the Fula is Mandinka, that little dark pink region. This is where you find this particular one. Just for context, if you were wondering. But yeah, this dude is actually supposed to be a part of it's like a shamanistic role. They turn up to keep people in line and to teach people lessons about morality, but also to lead the children of the village into the woods to take part in an initiation ritual between the ages of 8 and 13 where they circumcise them. And it's a rite of passage because at the same time they teach them a lot of secrets, train them to transmit the social norms and wisdoms necessary to return them after about 3 months to the community where they'll receive as adults in great celebration. Traditional training based on the teachings of hunting techniques, the secrets of plants, their therapeutic or mystical properties, social cohesion and respect. During their training in the forest, the children are dressed in a particular way, usually with a piece of white cloth tied around their necks. They're visited by the mothers who bring them food and other necessities. Nowadays, especially in the cities, respect for the Kankurang has diminished. People approach it without any fear and take selfies with it. Fortunately, in towns and villages it functions, it still seems to be intact. So it's a waning tradition, clearly a very terrifying tradition, a crazy one to say the least. But I understand this idea of the demons coming out once a year to initiate the young men of the tribe into respect is actually really common. This is the same thing that happened in the what they call the Terra del Fuego archipelago of South America. So if we're getting our maps up here, right at the tip of this region, the Terra del Fuego, right at the bottom, you had a tribe there that actually got wiped out. I did write about them in the book. Let me just find. I'm blanking. The Selk'nam tribe. Here we go. So these guys do the exact same thing. They initiate their young men through this weeks-long trial where they're basically attacked by demons. It's called the Hain. It's a coming-of-age ritual involving these costumes. It's a traditional custom to teach young children the skills and history as explained by anthropologists in blah, blah, blah. It's a secret Selk'nam male youth initiation ceremony where they get all the important things for their future adult life taught to them, including training as a hunter and the values, blah, 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 blah. Identical to what I just told you about the African tribe there. The Mandinka tribes doing the exact same thing to their young men involving the exact same creatures. But when you look at the Selk'nam's version, these guys got something wrong with them. I don't know. Well, unfortunately, these guys are actually pretty much genocided out of existence now. It's a very sad story when you look into what happened to them. Very brutal. But the costumes they wore to look like demons are conical hats, multicolored, black and red colored stripes, as you can see here. And these double antennaed looking, weird looking things. I can only show so much because of what's on the screen here. Low quality images. Very freaky looking. Very psychedelically freaky looking monsters. This looks like a Zangbito here on the left. A very similar shape, similar style. This is what the demons looks like, okay, to this particular tribe right at the southern tip of Argentina. Very similar. You wouldn't know, looking at this, that you were looking there, would you? This could be Africa once again. This could be the exact same thing we're looking at. It could be one of these dudes right here in his polka dot looking outfit, because they are all doing the same thing and interacting with the same creatures. Is the Zangbito, the conical ones, walking around in their sound suits, a lot like what we just saw for this particular one here in the middle. There's aesthetical similarities. There's threads we can weave through them all to join them all together, to having a shared experience that causes them to behave like this and do these type of things. And that's what my book is showing, that this is where the clown costume originates from in the West. It's borrowed from a lot of these cultures to amalgamate it into a caricature we call a clown, and we dress like this for the same purposes these dudes here are dressing this way. They're channeling the spirits. And when a man puts on a clown costume in the West, whether you know it or not, you're pretty much doing the same thing. I'm not sure ignorance of the spiritual laws make you immune to them, unfortunately. And again, look at this, with the conical head, the colourful stripes and everything. Is that any different from the Selk'nam tribes here, with the conical heads, colourful stripes, patterns? They would have been red and white like this, very trippy looking. It's the same practice, completely separate, just like the fighter con. Same thing. These terrifying demon masks, the pattern coloured line stripe clothing, the tassels as well. Doing it in troops, they are, again, this is to ward away evil spirits. In Africa, they're trying to channel them. Some of them are trying to ward them away. They use them for their own reasons, but they're all representing the same thing, one way or the other. And there we go. This is a glimpse into what the second book is, where we're going with it, and the things I've been thinking about for years and documenting. As you see, Europe here on the side, chapter 22. It's a long one. Many subheadings going through each culture, explaining thoroughly their demonic histories, their mythologies behind these creatures, why they dress this way, the purposes behind it, how they dress. We've got the Italian carnivals thrown in there, the Swiss Fastnacht, we got the Tuatha de Danann being mentioned towards the end there, talking about Celtic history as well. We got the Gorgons of Greece being brought up before going across to the Mediterranean to the northern regions of Africa, talking about Egypt, Egyptian demons, mythology, bleeding into the African and the Islamic Djinn, go bleeding through, and then we have the Amazigh people as well, going into the West African Vodan further down west of Africa. So now we just need to move across into the center of Africa, East Africa, then Southern Africa, and hopefully Africa will be boxed off, and then we'll do India, Asia, Australia, and then I can jump across to section 4 about all the modern fun stuff. I've already written the clown murderers and perverts section. I've written a coulrophobia piece. I've done about the 2016 clown sightings. I've written about the multicolored collective, and then it's on to TV, film, and music, and then a conclusion. So we're on our way, guys. We're on our way. I'm hoping my personal target is maybe July. Okay, if I can keep up this momentum, maybe I can get everything done in July. And that's not just the book. I'm talking about volume 2 release as a separate book, and then a combined volume 1 and 2, one book created. And that'll come with whole new formatting. I'll have to make the text smaller to get it to be a reasonable size. A brand new cover scheme, probably away from the original 2. I've got to design, obviously, the book covers. And then I'm also want to do the audio book, fully recorded, to come out with the whole set. So it's all done and dusted. No more product involving the Nephilim clowns anymore. It's just finished work, boxed off, done. You can read it however you want. Kindle, paperback, hardback, audiobook, it's all there. You can get volume 1 and 2 separately. You can buy them together. You can get the audiobook together or separately. I don't care. It'll all be available. It'll all be done, hopefully by July. And the audiobook will be done and released with it simultaneously, because that is the final proof reading method. Read it out loud. And that's where you really hear the flow issues, the punctuation issues, and the minor stuff at the end that you just don't really hear unless you do read it out loud. So that's going to be done and dusted. I'm working hard every day. I'm chipping away at this, and I just wanted to update you guys who were wondering, and kind of show you what I think about and the research I'm doing and why. Paul, have you ever had any anthropologists respond to your theories? I had one try to steal them and pass them off as his own, and I had him then berate me and threaten me because I called him out on it. And other than that, no. No, I haven't. I imagine they don't take me very seriously. They don't want to take me seriously. But I lambast anthropology quite a lot throughout the whole book for them basically just glancing over or choosing to ignore the obvious similarities between these cultures in many ways, or coming up with very, very unsatisfactory, glossing over the fact explanations as to why. I thoroughly talk about that throughout the book as we go. But no, I've not really had them reach out to me personally about this. But I'm taking it seriously, and I'm not even like attacking these cultures I'm writing about. I'm writing about them with respect, and I'm treating it with care. I'm not looking to hate on anybody who lives within these cultures or has this as a part of their heritage or anything like this. As far as I'm concerned, they're all fair game. None of them are sacred. Even my own, even the Celtic and the pagan histories of Britain and the rest of it in Europe. I don't consider any of them worthy of veneration, or I don't consider their stories true. I think they are localized perspective mythologies of the Nephilim narrative from the Bible. I think that's what it all comes down to, all of this. And it's every culture has their own way of doing it. Every culture has their own name for these things and their own stylized way of dressing like them, because based on material that's available to them and skill. Sometimes it's a skill issue and they can't make very good ones. Some they can make very elaborate ones. They will have their own aesthetical art styles on their reliefs and stelas and the rest of it. In the temple building and all these type of things. But when you actually get the bigger picture and look at all of them, they're all talking about the exact same thing. They're all depicting the exact same creatures, but none of them knew each other. None of them could communicate this at the time. And now we have this ability to connect the whole world instantly through the internet and observe things and make connections that weren't prior able to be connected. We can clearly see a repeated pattern. And that's what my book is about, pointing out the obvious repeated pattern. And the style of demon that existed on the earth at some points, that every single culture knows exactly what it looked like and made a lot of artwork about it because it was real. It was actually there. It wasn't just some imagination which each anthropologist isolated to their own country focused on and came up with all sorts of reasons how these are anthropomorphications of, cultural, ideas, or something like... Or disease. It's a personification of disease, these demons. It's kind of, no, that is clearly a Rakshasa of India, a Gorgon of Greece. This is the Oni of Japan. These are the dragon offspring of China. These are the Wanginas of Australia. It's on the Lanzon in the middle of Peru. These are the same things that they're dressing like in the Terra del Fuego Islands of a part further south. These are what the Pueblo are doing rain dances to. They're the same creatures. They're the same. They look the same. They're identical. They've got the same bucked fangs, wide grin, bulging eyes, crazy wild red hair. They look identical to each other because they were everywhere. They were actually there. And the fact that there's a severe lack of differentiation between each culture's supposed representation of the monster of disease proves that no, that's bullshit. They're not representations of any nebulous concepts. They were real entities that walked around that everybody saw and copied on paper or stone, basically. And my work, that's my point. I'm trying to prove it. I'm saying the Bible is true. It told the truth. The Bible's story is everybody's story. It's every culture's history. But just all the shit's cut away, and it's just telling you exactly what happened and why you have all these cultures venerating and ancestors and doing and dressing like this and doing these practices. It's because this history that was talked about in the Book of Enoch actually happened, And the fallout is everyone forgot. And now we have these traditions everywhere venerating them, then people don't know why they do it anymore. But we can pick apart the aesthetics and realize there's a shared cultural history that we can finally unite everybody under, and I think it's the truth that there is a God. The angels did create genetic hybrid offspring, which became giants that ate people. We contended with them, and their spirits still mess with us today and demand that veneration they once had. And they will lie to people to get it. So a lot of these cultures are listening to demons lie to them about who they are and what they are and why they're there. And those cultures base their entire society on those lies and will tell you they're true to the death. And who am I to tell them that their culture's wrong? And it's kind of, well, you can't all be right. I'm sorry, you can't all be right, including my own white Western cultures and their pagan past. They're wrong too. They're all wrong. They're all part of the same problem. And it's like, so the only issue I've had is people think I'm being racist. And I'd say that's a very low intelligent take if that's what you think is going on. You're not listening. You're not paying attention. I don't care about your race. I care about bad ideas and false history. And that's it. That's it. That's all this work is actually about. And we'll get it done. We'll get it out. We'll get it finished. And maybe I can take a rest and just move on and never have to talk about it ever again. Because it's been like a decade of my life. And it's my baby. It's my... I'm really working hard on this to get it finished. Paul, I'm going to email you a wild story. I know you're very busy. I'll try to keep it brief, but I'm very long-winded. You and me both, Captain Alien Beats. Don't worry, I get it. Email me at understandingconspiracy@gmail.com if you want to do that. Or maybe book a session with me and you can just tell me in person if you want. That's another option. Just email me. Ideas don't come out of nowhere. That's the materialistic perspective, and most anthropologists are materialists, so they should give credence to the theory. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't really care about their opinions. I'm not looking to get the opinions of the world. I'm not seeking appraisals from people who think I'm an idiot, already by default because I believe in God. I'm not trying to impress them or get acolytes from them. I'm not trying to get into the club of the anthropologists or get my thesis into the journals in the academic institutions, and they all already... that they cannot believe what I'm telling them because their entire livelihood is based on the opposite, supporting the opposite. That removes God from the equation. Absolutely. So it's kind of, I'm not even trying to get their attention because I don't want their attention. I think their institutions that they're a part of are completely corrupt and incorrect. And I think a lot of the knowledge they're even basing their own findings on and interpretations on is baseless. So why should I care? I don't care. I'm not interested. I took a lot of philosophy classes in university, and of the valuable things I learned was that every culture is worthy of critique. Absolutely. Every single one, including Christianity. If you look at the history of the Christians, we aren't perfect. We've done some terrible things in the name of the Catholic Church, in the name of Jesus Christ. I'm not saying that has any bearing on the reality of who Jesus is, but corrupt men do corrupt things and use things for their own personal gain all the time, and every culture has these problems and these issues. And look, I will lambast all of you equally. I don't care. You're all equally wrong. In my eyes, no one's special. No way. Oh my god, absolutely on my way to your website. Clout isn't what it's about. I figured it out. Yeah, I don't have a website. I've just got understandingconspiracy@gmail.com as an email if you want to contact me directly. You can send me an instant message on Telegram. If you join my Telegram, you can just click on my icon and send me a message, and we can arrange a time. The going rate right now is £100 an hour, but I'm willing to play around with the prices, and maybe we can do again, I can half that price if we do a half session, or £25 for 15 minutes or something like this. That seems like a reasonable use of my time or what it takes, and you've got my full attention for that time as well. But I'm working on it. I mean, there is services that do a $5 a minute or $3 a minute service, but that would just work out as the same price. You know what I mean? Than just paying for the session itself and having it booked, kind of like you would with a therapist or a doctor. It's the same thing. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a doctor. I'm literally just some dude who talks too much. Who, if you want to talk to me, it's an option there. That's all I'm saying. I'm gonna get the book in our local museum. Just you wait. It's funny because our museum in our little town has this section talking about the history of clowns and clown costumes, because this region might have made a few through the mills and stuff. And there's actually a gap right next to it. And I'm looking at this gap in this glass plinth. And I'm looking at that space and I'm thinking, my book should be right there. For the history of this town, somebody who grew up here and made this work and did all of this, I should be immortalized in that museum with my book right there next to this pottery that shows a bunch of clown paintings on it. Put my book right next to it. Maybe like some artist from where I'm from did that pottery piece or something, and my book should be there. I doubt it. I really don't see it ever happening. My book will never be in a museum. Let's put it that way. It'll never even be in a library. It's not going to be. Not in the UK. I'm writing some stuff 3 days at the moment. Yeah, Captain Early, take your time. There's no rush. I'm not going anywhere. Just email me when you're ready and we can figure something out. That's fine. You are an honest, well-researched, inspirational danger to the educated ones. Yeah, I don't think they bother to come at me sometimes because I don't think they quite know what I know. Like, they're not sure what to make of me, so they'd rather just not risk it. I think that's the issue. I mean, academically speaking, they could probably run circles around me with all of their facts and their appeal to authority and so forth, and I would just laugh and say, I'm not appealing to your facts or authority, I'm telling you got it all wrong and there's another way to look at these things. And they would scoff and say, well, who are you? What are your credentials? I have my MBE at so and so forth, what are you? You have an art degree from Lincoln? And they'll probably default to that. And I've had that happen from some lunatic. And this is what I mean. So it does happen. Especially when they're so young. I took a lot of philosophy classes. Oh, sorry, I'm just trying to go back on the chat here. I noticed that movies need some form of these to be successful and make a ton of money. I'm not sure what that's about. Right, we don't need to attack them to compare them. Comparative anthropology is a whole field study. Exactly, I'm not attacking any of them. I've learned a lot doing this book. I really have, about a lot of cultures that I didn't know anything about prior. I am learning so much about the death and misery and suffering so many cultures and these pagan tribes and have gone through. Like, it's not good. Like, you can say what you want about whether history is real or false, but this is relatively modern history I'm talking about here, maybe like the past 200 years or so. Because even America and its colonization, from what we understand, isn't that new, really, and like South America as well, from the Portuguese and the Spanish. Those native people really were. It's horrible what happened to them. They weren't seen as human. That much is clear. And whoever the people that came over and did that to them, they're gonna have some. They're gonna have to answer for a lot when they get up there to that judgment. Like, it's they treated them like animals, hunted them like dogs. It was horrible. Like what happened, especially to the Selk'nam tribe. When you really look into what happened there as well, with the full backing of the Argentinian government as well. The people were given permission to just go and hunt them down and kill them. And yeah, they were moved around. It was crazy. It was crazy when you get into these histories. And at the same time, here I am also trying to talk about the things that they used to get up to in terms of their rituals and the gods and the spirits they communicated with. But I don't think they were evil. I think they were genuinely communicating with entities they thought were the best thing for them and that were going to help them, and perhaps did teach them things, and they didn't know any different. That's as simple as that, really. But the other thing, they were just trying to live and survive like the rest of us, and they were not beyond redemption in any way, you know. And it's like the people who came over supposed to be from Christian nations who would have had the opportunity to help them and convert them and bring them up and show them other ways and expose the demons that they were venerating, didn't do any of that. They just saw them as a nuisance and murdered them all. And it's kind of were these people who really came over and did all this colonizing? I'm all for alternative history. I'm a conspiracy theorist. I've researched this. I'm not even 100% sure what was going on in that time period necessarily. But even this, if you look at this, the official narratives of the situation, people died. A lot of people were slaughtered, absolutely slaughtered. And then you look at other cultures, even like in Europe, and they weren't so much slaughtered, although they were, but they were the traditions waned and disappeared as Christianity took over, which again is not necessarily a bad thing, but it means like those who still practice these things today, they forgot why they do it as well. And it's like, it's just something they do because it's something to do every year for a bit of fun. And it's kind of lost all meaning in a sense, or its spiritual impact, because it's just a commodity for tourism. And even that in itself, this commodification of something that was once considered sacred, is sad to behold. And human history is weird. It's weird, and people are strange, and people will do things for reason and never really think twice about why they do them, is what I'm realizing. A lot of people are just product to their environments and to their family and to tradition, with never once questioning it. And I feel like, again, what I'm doing is I'm basically taking a sledgehammer to their traditions in a sense. But I'm trying to do it with respect, because I'm realizing these people have suffered, a lot of them, and they don't know, and they have built a functioning society and civilization based off of these beliefs and these relationships with spirits. And who am I to say maybe some of them are communicating with benevolent spirits and angels, maybe. I don't know how God works exactly with some of these people, but not all of them. A lot of them have honor as well. They're not all just savages, you know. A lot of them have a respect for nature and a respect for one another and the sanctity of life and all these other things as well. So you have to, so you can't just blanket state that they're all evil because they're worshipping demons or something. It's not that simple, and I don't want my book to be ever seen as something like that either, because it's not that. It's because these cultures are complicated. And you'll find it's actually a very small percentage of these regions that still do these practices, and I'm focusing on them. And with the way I talk about it, maybe people could think I'm saying the whole country does this still, and it's really not. A lot of them have converted or a-religious or gave into atheism or become Christians or any other religion as well. And a lot of them moved on with modernity and have become metropolises and cities and multicultural hubs like the rest of the world, you know, and these traditions really are just something that's being kept alive on life support now. So it's kind of like, the way I'm talking about them is I'm trying to give all of that context for the shifting landscape of religious animism and shamanism throughout history, and where we are now, and how we can only glimpse of what the Nephilim looked like through these long, sad echoes of something from an ancient past. So it's a sad story, really, as well. I'm kind of telling here. There isn't. I guess that is the overarching narrative that I'm always drawing back onto as well. But again, I guess I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot, and I'm trying to be respectful. So weird, Paula. I watched your video yesterday about Baal, and a friend of mine recently told me he worshipped him, and then the thunderstorm last night, the thunder shook the house. Can't make this up. I believe you, you know. I believe you. Yeah, I'm out. Bye, everyone. Okay, see you again. I don't know what's going on there. I study animal sacrifice. I don't know what that means. What, have I offended you? British Terence version 2.0. Well, a Terence McKenna. I don't know if I'm a Terence McKenna. Study animal sacrifice. I don't know why. I don't know why I've offended you in any way. If I have offended you, I don't really care, to be honest. I'm going to get the book in our local museum, just you wait. It's going to happen. She's working on it. Yeah. Maybe get a petition. We could pass a petition round and get enough people to sign it saying this book deserves to be in that perfect spot right there. We'll see. I love your videos. I hope to grab your book on clowns soon too. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Paul, in America, I've managed to get many niche books submitted into my local library in Los Angeles. All I have to do is request the book and the librarian orders them. If everyone did that. I think the British library system, and I only know this because my mum works at a library. Like she retired very recently actually, but she works like for at least 7 to 8 years at a library from my memory, you know. And it's not that simple. You can only order books to your library from a very specific data set of books that is updated by a very specific regulatory body run by the government. So only the approved books that will let people see will get on that library list, you know. And someone like me who's a self-published nobody who hasn't gone through an official publishing house would never get on that registry. And the libraries just would not be able to order it. It's that simple. It's just not going to happen. So not in England, but if you want to do it in America for me, by all means do it. Yeah, absolutely. In the Philippines, many people really do respect certain entities. They believe in tree spirits and such. So if a kid has a pea behind a tree, they're taught to say tabi tabi po means respect. Yeah, this is what I mean. I don't think these cultures are disrespectful or hate-filled or like blood-drinking demon sacrifices or anything. That's not what they are. And, you know, like I said, they have a deep, rich cultural heritage and roots connected to this animism and this shamanism. Doesn't mean they're not still communicating with Nephilim, though. It really doesn't, you know. That could be the case. And there may be, perhaps, varying levels of malevolence to a Nephilim. Some of them might be passive and might not want to get involved with the mess, you know, and might want to be semi-whatever to people. They don't really care either way, you know, so they're not going to hurt them or do anything or possess them, but at the same time, they're like, no, I'm not going to help you either, you know, you're the reason I'm stuck in this mess. Like, so, who knows, like, what a demon's thinking, but then at the same time, there are angels that are in things, in it, like I've been researching and kind of talking about a lot on the channel. God imbued a spirit into all things on the earth, including forests and trees and so forth. There are angels behind that, making it function and happen. So it could be that a lot of these cultures are simply just understanding the connectivity, spiritually speaking, of all living things on earth, and they have that natural respect for it. And I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that in and of itself, but when you start to cross over into worshipping that over the creator, and then channeling demons and getting information from them and utilizing that for your own personal benefit in the material world, then you're crossing boundaries now, aren't you? And I think that's where the issues can truly arise, to be honest. My phone just went off. I've learned that it's very important I actually pay attention to that when that happens, to be honest. What I've been going for? I'm going for over an hour. My meeting is in 25 minutes, so I can't go too much longer, guys, because I do have obligations. They've emailed me saying they can send me the link whenever. Perfect. So I'll go for another 10 minutes, guys, and maybe I'll start that call a bit early just to get a jump on it. That's awesome altruition. That's friggin' awesome. I came across Stephen King's book Cell in a similar fashion. It's a very synchronistic way I came across your book at my local thrift store that had been recently donated. Very awesome find. My book's got to that point now. People are selling my book secondhand online. I have seen that happening quite a lot at a grossly increased price, I might add, sometimes as well. Some people are flipping my book for profit, which is very sad to see, because it's available on Amazon and pretty cheap for most people, and I think some countries don't have access to it, so some people are trying to sell it to them in that country at grossly inflated prices. It does happen. At a thrift store, I'm sure it was a couple of dollars though, right? Something like that. But it's pretty cool. I enjoy that. And thanks for sharing that. Right, guys. Does anyone have anything to say? Any last minute questions? I guess I'll just also, while I've got you guys here, announcements. I have released the music. The music is out. So people who keep asking me, I play a lot of music on my show here that I've recorded over the years. And people are saying, "Oh, where can I listen to this? Is there anywhere I can go to listen to it?" And I listened, and I got a distributor online, DistroKid, I think the company's called, and I uploaded the music on there. I quickly made an album art cover as well. The album's called Stupid Prizes because it's about messing with the new age, you know, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, and a lot of my songs are themed around that kind of thing. So that's why that is what it is. I used an old piece of artwork from my my backlog collection of things I drew over the years as well. Just things I've kind of found on old hard drives, and I did manage to find this here. This, as you can see, this drawing, and that's now the album art cover. It's somebody touching the macabre and getting pricked by it, and if you look closely, those blood particles, they're all platonic solids. They're all geometric forms and shapes. And again, it plays off this theme of stupid prizes. You know, play with the new age. Yeah, you're gonna get damaged. You're gonna get hurt. You're gonna get hurt. It's nonsense, and a lot of it's themed around coming to the truth of Christ as well. So what you find here are 5 songs, all with different styles. The first one is more of a finger picking folk song. New Age Hippie is more of a strumming, again, acoustic solo folkish type song. Ruins is more of an upbeat, fast paced song about the new age, bringing you to ruins, you know. And Change My Mind is more of a reggae, ska, upstrum beat solo song, which is about somebody, me, when I wrote it, still kind of just coming out of the new age, but trying to find the truth and realizing there's problems with it. That's kind of what that song's about. So Change My Mind, I guess I called it that because I was still looking for somebody to try and bring me out of the new age and change my mind about this because I don't think it's right, but I can't quite make that leap yet. I think a lot of people could understand that, and if you listen to that song, Change My Mind, you can hear that it's me just before I fully converted and gave myself over to Christ, and it's recorded during that time as well, to be honest. And I was trying to figure it out, and I think when I wrote that, it just came to me as well. I don't want to say channeled, but it just happened. I just picked up the guitar, started singing, started strumming, and this song happened. And it was written and done and dusted within like 10 minutes and recorded just as quick as well. And I guess it was me processing who I think I am at the time and understanding I want to change and but not knowing exactly what I'm supposed to do or where I'm supposed to go and what I'm supposed to believe. And it wasn't long after that song that I did eventually kind of collapse on my knees in that hotel room and ask God to show me the truth if he is real, you know. So Change My Mind is like, it's an old one. It's very old. I must be 23 or something, maybe 22. I don't know how. I'm 33 now. It's I was born again in 2014. That's 12 years ago. In actually, what date are we on? In 3 days, March 14th. It'll be 12 years since I converted and was born again and filled with the Holy Spirit and gave myself over to Jesus. So yeah, 12 years. So that would have been 11 years ago I probably wrote this song. Change My Mind. So enjoy that one. And A Walk in the Rain is a 10-minute piano solo piece, which a snippet was used as the intro and outro for the Understanding Creativity channel. If you've been on that channel, you will have heard the little riff in the middle from this A Walk in the Rain piano improvised jazz solo piece. So enjoy that. That's there for you guys. Go listen to it. I think it's on iTunes now. It's slowly uploading the distributor to everywhere. It'll be on YouTube Music eventually, but I think it's all been submitted and it's all just going through approval processes, and day by day, it'll just end up on every single platform where music goes. So go enjoy that, guys. I don't know if I'll get anything for it. I don't know what kind of ad revenue that kind of thing gives you, if anything at all. I don't know. Maybe something, maybe nothing. I don't really care. The music's there for you to go and get for free anyway. So go and enjoy that, guys. Just checking the chat. I don't know, guys. I found Dewey from Malcolm Middle. Been watching him for a month, and just clicked today. He had a vid of tree walking. I was like, tree walking. Is that where literally trees just get up and start running off? I think I've seen videos of those. Yeah. Okay. So Reg was upset because he is an animal sacrificer. Are you upset that we disagree that you sacrifice animals? I mean, you can't just come into a room like this and get offended everybody because they don't want to do what you want to do. Like, I mean, come on. No, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I love a walk in the rain, Paul. Oh, good. I'm glad you like it, Joyful One. I'm glad you like that one. We have to get our downloads somehow. Do we? Do you have to sacrifice animals to get downloads from who? I mean, have you ever tried just praying to God and he'll have all the answers you need and you don't have to sacrifice anything? Christ fulfilled all prerequisite necessities for any kind of blood atonement through sacrificing lambs or animals or anything like that. He was the perfect lamb. He was the perfect sacrifice. It's covered. The only things that demand sacrifice and blood now are the disembodied spirits of Nephilim. So that's who you're communicating with. I can't explain it any other way to you. I wholeheartedly disagree with your practice. I think you're wrong. And I'm not trying to offend you. I'm just telling you the truth. There's no need. It's completely pointless. And the downloads you're getting, are they really worth it? Really? Are you now some wise guru sage who knows beyond reason and the abilities of normal man, some vast knowledge that makes you a super special wizard or something? Like, what's it really giving you? Be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. It was like Lord of the Rings. Oh, Wendy just gifted 20 memberships. No, she hasn't. She's been a member for 20 months. 20 months. Look at that. You must be one of the oldest members. Smash that like button. That's right, guys. Smash that like button. Whatever it does for live shows, if anything at all. I'm not quite sure. Paul, quit engaging with that. Those accounts come here all the time. They do. I know. I get a lot of trolls coming in here just saying random, derailing random stuff. But people read it, and I don't think a lot of people do know that whether people are being serious or not. And I feel like I can cover these things. I can say these things. I can say, come on, get real. Like, stop being crazy. I'm allowed to say it's my channel. I'll call you crazy if I want to. I always see those random letter accounts just saying nonsense. Well, to be fair, Reg has been here for a while, I think. Reg has been here for a while, so fair enough. And if I misinterpreted what you said there about downloads, Reg, I apologize. Can I promote his channel? I wouldn't usually, but it's Dewey from Malcolm in the Middle. No link, just channel shout. I'll look into it. Send me a link in an email, Captain Alien. I'd like to see what that guy's up to. I know he ducked out of the industry not long after Malcolm in the Middle, didn't he? I don't think he wanted anything to do with it after that. Dango G. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, he will deal with you. I don't think if Reg needs rebuking necessarily, but I think we can all safely say animal sacrifice is not necessary. You can stop doing that. Right, guys. I think I've been going for an hour 15. It's probably long enough. Just a short one today, like I said, just to catch up. Just to want to show you guys where I'm at with the book. I hope you enjoyed that little presentation and display. Keep your eyes out. Like I said, I'm going to be chugging away in the background, working hard to get that product finished and out and done and dusted so I can just move on with my life and just focus on making videos and nothing else. It's like the weight of the world on my shoulders, this project. I took on a huge mammoth giant ball on my shoulders as I'm trying to roll up a hill constantly and it keeps rolling back down. So I want to get it done so I can just feel that relief, to be honest. I know I've got a lot of people waiting on this second volume, and apologies for it taking so long. For those who did donate to the pre-orders 2 years ago for the full version, you will get your copy once it's finished. I've got you all on the list still. All the addresses are there. Anybody who still thinks they haven't sent me their address can email that to me, and I'll make sure it's updated on my document. So that will be happening this year. I don't see it taking any longer than this year, to be honest. If I'd missed the July deadline, I'm aiming for August. That's my own personal deadline, so hopefully we can get it done on time. But thanks for listening to me, guys. Thanks for putting up with me. Thanks for being patient. Thanks for some questions. Thanks for reaching out. And also thank you to all the new Patreon subscribers as well over there. I've seen a huge increase of support on that platform, which is fantastic because it's coincided with a huge decrease of ad revenue on this platform on YouTube, as they seem to be just taking that away from us now. But it's good to know that I can just continue doing this because people like you who listen to this, who see value in what I do, support me financially, and I cannot continue without that financial support. It's that simple. Now, obviously I've got the book and I've got other ways, and I'm doing what I can to maintain this, so if YouTube goes away, I can keep talking. That's the point. That's the plan, and I'm doing it with your help. It's happening, so thank you so much. Links down below for the music and all the good stuff, and the email address. I'll speak to you soon, guys, on Sunday for the Truth and Therapy sessions. I'll release another video on Friday, maybe a podcast visit from Prometheus Lens if he releases his, or maybe from Broadcasting Seeds as well. We'll see. But thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. And as always, God bless.